But Philly overall has been trending down, not in terms of going toward the Republicans, just people not getting out to vote. And so you got people out there like Pastor Carl Day, who's got a bunch of young men with him, knocking on doors, trying to get people to come out. It's a bigger, tougher fight in Philly to get that vote count up than it has been in the past. That has me worried. The other thing that has me worried is that the Jewish vote in the suburban areas, Biden won the Jewish vote by 70%, 70-30 last time. Some polls show Kamala at 50-50. That is 70,000 votes we've bled away. That is the margin for victory. So you got groups like Zioness, Amanda Berman out there fighting to get the Jewish vote back on board. This is a tough
Trump campaign doing ads
and
to
the
try
Trump
to
campaign pushing the other direction. So this is it is door to door, bruised knuckles, tired legs, a lot of coffee, and I'm nervous and worried, and I'm not going to be anyway until this thing gets called.
Okay, is there anything that is making you happy about Pennsylvania?
No, there's nothing making me happy about Pennsylvania. You got David Urban out there causing us trouble in the rural parts of the state. Get David Urban on this show and keep him here all day, and then I'll feel better.
Just don't let him leave.
I don't want him out there.
Same question to you. Is anything making you happy about Pennsylvania? Is everything making you nervous?
I just have to say, if only there's something that Kamala Harris could have done early in this campaign to help with the Jewish voters of Pennsylvania. Could it have been that the governor of Pennsylvania is a Jewish American who would have been, and a very popular one?
Just because if she'd been Josh Shapiro doesn't mean every Jew is going to be voting for her.
I mean, it might have meant a whole bunch of Pennsylvanians voted for her. This could go down as the biggest.
Moving on.
I'm just saying. Anyway, I understand why you're nervous.
There you have it, gang. Rich Barris was just talking about that on his live stream earlier today. He played that clip and he mentioned that the last time we saw Van Jones talk like that about Pennsylvania was 2016, and Hillary Clinton's prospects, her fleeting prospects for winning Pennsylvania. He is very clearly nervous. Pennsylvania does look increasingly like an uphill battle for Kamala. Not impossible. We'll be talking about that tonight, but certainly uphill. And I'm going to show you all exactly why. Greetings, everyone. Wow. A special live stream Monday night. Come on in, one and all, the night before the big night, the biggest night of the last 4 years, really the most important election of our lifetimes. I'm your host, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane in these insane times. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button as we do every Monday night. We've got our exclusive backstage private Q&A tonight. If you'd like to join our private virtual platform and ask me your questions, just click on that link below or go to fight.turleytalks.com/join. Sign up for any level of support that you like. We've actually got a special election deal tonight. Sign up tonight and get 50% off your membership. It's half off. I believe it's just $5 a month. That's pretty good. But that deal is only for tonight. I believe it lasts throughout the election. So sign up. All you got to do is scan that QR code. Love them QR codes, man. Scan that QR code and you will be able to sign up for this limited time. And there is also a link below. Micah, thank you for letting me know. You'll be able to sign up for this limited time and get half off of your membership. And then you're going to get your own backstage pass. You're going to get your own link to be able to ask me anything you like, as well as fellowship with some of the coolest patriots on the planet in our online fellowship. So make sure to click on that link below or scan that QR code. Join our Insiders Club for half off just for this Election Day special. And we will be going off to our own private virtual platform in mere moments where you can join us to ask any questions you like and have some fellowship with some amazing patriots and get ready for what I pray is an amazing day. We, of course, have so much to talk about together tonight. I know you've got tons of questions. This has been a long journey. We've been on this journey now for 4 years. And I want to frame this election for you in a way that I hope helps cut through a lot of the confusion and the mixed messages and all the new ambiguous polling and that's dropping out there and all the anxiety that so many of us have. In many ways, the powers that be can't even believe we're here right now. You have to let that hit you. The powers that be at CNN cannot believe we are at this moment. MSNBC literally cannot wrap their psychopathic heads around this moment. This moment was never supposed to happen. The powers that be gathered together, and over the course of 4 years, starting on November 8, 2016, conspired in their own way, however formally or informally, to get rid of this guy. I mean, you have to let it hit you. Just a few months before Trump won in November of 2016, we had, for globalists in Europe, an absolutely earth-shattering event. June 23rd, 2016, Brexit. And they witnessed, to their horror, more people, more Brits come out and vote to leave the European Union that had ever voted for a British party or politician or election. And suddenly, to their horror, populism, that had always been these fringe movements throughout the continent, suddenly populism rose up and, for the first time ever since its conception, began dismantling the European Union, a globalist institution par excellence. And then just 3 months later, 4 months later, to their shock and horror, the very candidate who for a year and a half had been campaigning on dismantling the liberal international order, he actually supported Brexit. He said, "Call me Mr. Brexit." He said that NATO was obsolete. He wanted to get rid of the one-size-fits-all multilateral trade agreements and have instead bilateral trade agreements what recognize the sovereign dispositions of nations. He did the unpardonable sin where he actually confronted China rather than appeased China in order to bring them into the liberal international order. He got rid of NAFTA and GATT and replaced it with the UMCA. And he even ended up putting tariffs on aluminum and steel, including aluminum steel that came from the EU. And of course, he withdrew from TPP and from, oh my heavens, the sin of sins, the Paris Climate Accords. He was campaigning on doing all that. And then, to the shock and horror of the powers that be, he won on November 8th, and the first Republican to win over 300 electoral votes in 30 years. And on that night, November 8th, 2016, we now know, thanks to the Twitter files, that night, the national security agencies made sure that they would do whatever needed to be done to ensure that he was a one-and-done president, that he was thwarted every step of the way, and that once they got rid of him, they would effectively bar any possibility of him coming back to power. And in many respects, that's what J6 is ultimately all about. J6 was supposed to permanently and politically bury this man. And here we are, nearly 4 years later, and he is more popular than ever. To the astonishment and horror of the establishment, and I mean the entirety of the establishment, the legacy media, academia, and federal bureaucrats, he is more popular now than ever. And now their candidate, who of course they put in through nefarious means, they got rid of the duly elected candidate and they put in their own candidate. She is now in a position of having to hold on to Biden's 40,000 vote margin from 2020, despite the fact that Trump's popularity has caused now, and of course their own incompetence with the economy and the southern border, has caused the electorate to shift 4 to 6 points to the right. And that, to me, gang, is the election in a nutshell. The establishment now is clinging to a 40,000 vote margin, 10,000 in Arizona, 10,000 in Georgia, 20,000 in Wisconsin, a 40,000 vote margin in an electorate that has shifted 4 to 6 points to the right. If you understand that, I think you understand where we are right now in this election. If the electorate has shifted 4 to 6 points to the right, obviously she's not going to be able to expand that lead. How do you expand that tiny little margin if the electorate has shifted 4 to 6 points to the right? If the best you could pull off in that 4.5 plus Democrat electorate of 2020, if the best you could pull off was 40,000 votes, a 40,000 vote margin, what do you do when that 4.5 electorate disappears? Can you hold on to it? Now, just so you know where I'm getting that number from, because again, I think it's very, remember, I'm your patriot professor. I'm here to help you stay sane in these insane times. We have two fundamental indicators that show that the electorate has shifted 4 to 6 points. First and foremost, we've got what's called the RCP polling aggregate. That's the Real Clear Politics polling average, which consistently, historically, comes within a few points of the national popular vote. So we've got the RCP polling aggregate. And we've got the Gallup voter identification survey, which actually has come within tenths of a point in accuracy over the last 4 election cycles in predicting the popular vote. So if we take the RCP aggregate, which, by the way, has understated Trump's support by an average of about 1.1 points. If we take that aggregate, we would get an electorate around a Republican +1 electorate. If we take the Gallup survey, the electorate would be around Republican +2. And then we compare that with the electorate from 2020, which was a Democrat +4.5, to one that is now Republican +1 or 2. We're looking at a 4 to 6 point swing to Trump in the 2024 electorate. Now, we're seeing this swing in all the state polls, well, virtually all of them. But by and large, not the idiotic one that just came out from Iowa that doesn't even have a prayer in reality. But it doesn't matter, generally speaking, if you're looking at a red state poll or a blue state poll. It doesn't matter. Trump is currently running at least 4 to 6 points better than he was in 2020. We're seeing it in New York. Kamala's margins have been cut in half from what Biden had in 2020. We're seeing it in Virginia. So the electorate has clearly shifted 4 to 6 points to the right. And so now the question is, with all of the early voting that we're seeing, can Kamala hold on to that 40,000 vote lead despite the 4 to 6 point shift? Well, we can go to Arizona. where Biden won by 10,000 votes. What does Arizona look like right now? Republicans, for the first time ever, are going into Election Day having amassed a near 200,000 vote lead in Arizona. The electorate has shifted. And Mike Whatley and Laura Trump have brilliantly orchestrated a wonderful get out and early vote campaign. Thank you. Can you imagine if Ronna McDaniel were running this campaign? Oh, my heavens. So that's Arizona. From 10,000 votes for Biden to now going into the election with an absolutely unprecedented 200,000 vote lead. Then we can go to Georgia, where Biden won by 10,000 votes. And once again, according to Target Smart, Republicans have amassed a 100,000 vote lead. Again, we've never seen that before. We've never gone into Election Day with Republicans banking 100,000 vote lead. And then we can look at Wisconsin, where Biden won by 20,000 votes. Trump, right now, is currently outperforming Senator Ron Johnson from 2022, when Johnson won re-election by a few points. Trump is outperforming his winning total by 9 points in the early voting. So we can already see how Harris's hope of holding on to that 40,000 vote margin in many ways has already slipped away. And then, as you just heard Van Jones talking, we can widen the electoral map and ask the question, can Harris hold on to Biden's 80,000 vote margin in Pennsylvania when the electorate has shifted 4 to 6 points to the right? Remember, Biden ended up with a 1.1 million early vote firewall, early vote advantage going into Election Day. And the Election Day turnout among Republicans was so massive that 1.1 million firewall shrunk to 80,000 votes. Well, not only do they not have that firewall, anything near that firewall, they only have about 400,000. But now the vote has shifted even more to the right. Can she do it? She may be able to. I'll always level with you guys. I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I don't know. None of us do. We don't know. We don't know what they're going to try to pull. They seem to have tried to pull a lot, but they keep getting caught. And the courts, thank God, have been intervening beforehand. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in terms of absolute, assured, certain knowledge. But I do know a couple of things. One, we were never supposed to be here in the first place. Tonight, tomorrow, wasn't supposed to happen, according to the powers that be. But here we are. And two, he's more popular than ever. The electorate is more with him than ever. So no matter what happens going into tomorrow, I feel a tremendous amount of peace with that. We weren't supposed to be here, but we are. And he's more popular than ever. So I'm sure you have lots of questions. I could keep going, but it is time to turn this over to you. Micah, do you want to bring some people? Oh, we got some other, I want to talk about Pennsylvania. I want to talk about all kinds of things that are going on here. But maybe we've got a couple of questions we can do here.
Yeah, guys. And just to reiterate what Dr. Steve said earlier, I'm going to keep it short because I know you guys want to hear, you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from Dr. Steve. So tonight we're going to go over to our private live stream very shortly after a couple questions. But if you scan that QR code or go to the link in the description, you can join our Courageous Conservative Club, which is where you get access to our VIP live stream, our private live stream, and you can join for half off, $5 a month, or 50% off our annual rate. And you can join, get all the same benefits. And this is our election day, election coverage special. So this will only be available for a limited time. So don't wait. Click on that link below, scan the QR code, and you can join the Courageous Conservative Club for $5 a month. This is like pre-inflation prices, guys. This is pre-Kamala prices. So you want to, act like you're living under Trump and spend that $5 and join us and join us for great fellowship and take advantage of this great deal. You have to use the code VOTE2024. Just go to the link below or scan that QR code. So we're going to look at a few questions before we head over to that private live stream. I know that I have a lot of questions, and I hope that a lot of you ask the questions that I have because, a lot of you are feeling nervous, and I know we are too. So let's see what some of these questions are. William O'Toole asks, when do you think Trump voters should be concerned as the night goes along? That is there a key state of the 7 that will be indicative of a Trump and GOP night?
Yeah, no, that's a phenomenal question. So I will give you guys, I'll try to give you guys first video tomorrow some cool sites to be looking at, particularly on X. One of the ones is a database from Florida. Florida is amazing because Florida keeps tabs of, it posts the election returns, the amount of Republicans and Democrats and independents that are coming out hourly. So we'll get to see the actual electoral makeup, the electorate makeup in real time. And what we're looking for is anything above a +10 Republican makeup. Now, we're going to probably get that pretty easily in Florida, but Florida doesn't exist in a vacuum. Florida is going to be reflective of what we're seeing throughout the South, throughout the Sun Belt in general, and even to a certain extent, Seth Keschel, our good friend, the data analyst, even to a certain extent, Pennsylvania. So where Florida goes, it tends to drag Pennsylvania with it for whatever reason. I think largely because of an inordinate working class population. So the big thing for me in my analytics tomorrow is I want to take a look at the electorate that's coming out. If it is a very heavy Republican electorate, we got this. They're shot because they're so far behind in the early vote. So obviously, let's see, when should we be concerned if we've got this massive Republican advantage and it's not translating in the returns? Then that would be very strange, and we would have to sift through that. If we were preparing for battle and we saw all soldiers on our side totally outnumbering the other side, the results should be pretty self-explanatory there. So we're looking at Florida to give us the first indicator of the makeup, the partisan makeup of the electorate. And we're looking for a +10, +15 Republican electorate, +20. I mean, just the higher, the better. And on average, as I understand it, it can be around +20. It may be a little less because we had so much early voting. That's fine. As long as it's a plus Republican electorate, we should be okay, given how far behind they are in the early voting firewalls. In terms of some bellwethers, keep an eye on Duval County in northeast Florida. That's a bellwether for Georgia. So where Duval goes, Georgia goes. That's almost like an ironclad little rule there. Duval right now is +2 Republican. It went +1 Democrat in 2020, as did Georgia. Georgia votes about 3 points to the right or so of Duval. Duval is now +2 Republican. It should probably be around +3 at the end of the day tomorrow, just because of how red Florida's gotten. And so you can, keep an eye on Georgia to see if it gets up to that +4, +5. That'll be huge, given that Biden stole it by 10,000. No, I didn't mean that. I didn't say stole. I mean, took it away from us. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, so that would be and something to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on Erie and Northampton counties in Pennsylvania. They tend to be bellwethers. If they're going right, they're going Republican, most likely will take the state. That'll be, and then also keep an eye if Kamala is struggling in New Hampshire and Virginia. Those will be some first returns, New Hampshire and Virginia. If she's struggling in those states, it's going to be brutal for her. If she's holding her own, we'll have to see. Again, Biden more than held his own and only ended up winning by 40,000 votes. So those are some indicators. Also keep an eye on North Carolina. If North Carolina is doing well for Trump, which I think he would, North Carolina normally votes 6 points to the right of the popular vote. So he should do just fine in North Carolina. I don't think they're concerned at all there. But if that's going well, if that's strong, and she's struggling in Virginia, that'll give you a sense of where the vote is coming in.
All right, we're going to do a couple more, guys, before we head on over to our private live stream. So again, if you haven't, click that link below and join us for only $5 a month. We cannot wait to see you over there with our 5,000 other members, where you get to fellowship with other like-minded patriots. And you get to enjoy the election coverage, knowing that next live stream, you'll be able to ask any question you want. And so, win or lose. Proud Canadian asks, I'm starting to see a similarity between X and Skynet from Terminator. Is there any concern of too much technology controlled by one company?
Sure, of course there is. I don't know quite the connection between X and Skynet. I could see it more like Starlink or something like that. But sure, of course. But that's where tradition comes in. So technology and tradition need each other, and they imply one another. When we amputate technology from tradition, then we no longer have any moral restraints. Whereas if technology is serving tradition and tradition is serving technology, they're working together reciprocally, then we can have some moral balance and have, technology is always a servant, never a master. And that's exactly what Skynet ended up became a master.
It's a big picture question, looking past the election of, the Elon Musk, but at least he's on our side right now. So. The dog is going crazy. Democratic Socialist Llamas of America, Kami Llama, asks, Dr. Turley, I mailed in my absentee ballot for Georgia last Monday, and my county elections office, a Trump-heavy county, by the way, hasn't received it. Mischief afoot, hint, hint. How can I make a big stink if they don't receive it in time?
I don't know. I would contact Early Vote Action, because that's what they're all about, is mail-in ballots or getting your ballot in-person voting. I would contact earlyvoteaction.com, if I recall. That's Scott Pressler's organization, and see what they have to say about that and what you can do to follow up on that.
All right, we'll do maybe two more before we head on over. Charles Altman asks, do you think what happened to Peanut the Squirrel and Fred the Raccoon will have an impact on the election?
Oh my, I don't know. Isn't that just crazy? It all came down to a squirrel and a raccoon. I mean, people are very upset that we live in this anarcho tyranny-like structure where the powers that be allow for certain classes of people to basically break the law uninhibited, while at the same time being absolutely legalist and cracking down generally on law-abiding citizens, tax-paying citizens. And I think in many ways what we saw there with Peanut and Fred kind of reeks of this anarcho-tyranny. You know, you care nothing about these illegal immigrants. You care nothing about all this crime and shoplifting and so forth, but you're going to go and euthanize these little pets because some people complained. You know, it's I could see it as just part of it's the system is broken, and that's what Alonda Newhouse refers to it. Our time is a time of brokenism, and everyone sees it. And so there are two groups of people that are being formed: brokenists like us, who believe it's broken beyond repair and therefore needs to be replaced. So you need outsiders to come in and replace it. And status quoists who know it's broken, but they believe the establishment still has the resources. It still has the brain power to fix the problems it creates. The problem for them is, as we're finding, is status quoists are getting less and less.
All right. This will be our last question before we head on over to our private live stream. So again, click that link below and you can join us and you can ask any question you like. All right. We've got Bill Simler. Hello, Dr. Steve. I saw a Fox poll today that matched up perfectly with Rich Barris when they factor in the margins of error from 2020 and 2016. They have Trump with 312 electoral votes and Harris with 226. It gives me hope. Your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Polls, I mean, I'll still use it like with the Gallup voter identification survey, for example, or the Real Clear Politics, just in terms of their national poll relevance going into Election Day. But yeah, 312 is actually the most common number you're seeing among forecasters and modelers. So that's Trump sweeping all of the swing states, the big seven plus Nevada. So he'd be the first Republican to win Nevada in 20 years, since 2004, since George Herbert Walker Bush was able to get it from Kerry. So yeah, I tend to be of that mindset. Again, if it just seems to me it is consistent with the notion that Kamala is trying to hold on to a 40,000 vote margin when millions of new votes have moved over to Trump. 4 to 6 points is huge. That's, we're talking anywhere from 6, 7, 8 million votes. So I just see it as I see it as a very tall order. I don't see how you can expand on that 40,000 vote margin. I just don't see it. So we'll have to see. But yes, I do think that's a very plausible map for tomorrow, and we'll see how long it takes to count. Again, these are just a lot of things we just don't know. So that's why I think it's very important we go in to Election Day knowing this was not supposed to happen, and he is more popular than ever.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to put that banner up for about 10 seconds, guys. Again, this is your last chance. Scan that QR code, use the code VOTE2024, and you will be able to join our Courageous Conservative Club for half off, both the monthly and the annual fee. You will get half off. So that's $5 a month. Again, these are pre-Kamala, pre-inflation times, pre-COVID. This was our original offer for you guys at our base level. It's normally $10. This is a 50% off. So gang, there's like 4,000 of you watching live. We've got 5,000 members just waiting for you to join them in our private live stream.
Come on over. Come on over. You'll love it, guys. You'll love it.
Yeah, and so you will be able to ask any question you like in any future live stream that we hold. And this is an election special. So this will only be available for a limited time. So without further ado, we will see you guys over in that VIP live stream.